What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Brandon again. You are watching my first actual workout while being coached by Dan Green. So again, if you didn't see the video, I'll be getting coached by Dan for at least the next 10 weeks. Now, Dan is a world record holding powerlifter, and I hope I can translate some of those gains into my gains. So as far as that goes, also, this is a customized routine that he's put me on. I don't know how much I can go in depth on it. However, I will ask him just to make sure. Regardless, I have to film some of these workouts for him, so I figured I might as well throw some commentary on top of this. Now, that being the case, what I'm doing here, what you're seeing is some working sets of squats to begin. So a set of 315 for 5, then 365 for 5, and then I jumped up to 410 pounds for 2 sets of 6. Now, in these first 2 working sets you see, I'm not using any kind of wrist straps or belt, only because it's not overly heavy for me, and I want to work on that core strength. However, when I get to my heavier working sets, I will be throwing on the belt for this. Also, looking at those earlier sets, I wasn't really overly happy with the depth, but I think as the day went on, my depth got a little bit better. Maybe that just means I need to work on my mobility a little bit more, although I did do some great mobility work and I felt really loose. But just one of those things that in my mind I feel like I'm going deep enough, but when looking on the video I'm overly critical. Now, please keep in mind that since I am training specifically for powerlifting, my main concern is just to break parallel a little bit lower, just so that it would be considered a good lift. I'm not concerned with going any deeper because that is just beside the point for what I'm trying to accomplish. Also, my squat style doesn't really allow me to do that. So here you see my final working set of 410. You will also notice that I'm severely color coordinated this day. I got the black and blue going on, repping the Citadel Nutrition shirt, as well as the Reband knee sleeves, the Under Armour socks, which you all have come to love and or hate depending on your view of them. And I'm actually wearing my Adidas Powerlift trainer, so I've been kind of alternating my shoes between these, my Addy Powers, and my good old-fashioned Chuck Taylors. Not really sure what I'm most comfortable in, but I will continue to kind of play around with that. So after doing the typical squat sets in my competition stance, I did 3 sets of 5 of 275 with more of a high bar and also a pause. So my goal here was to do a pause of around 3 seconds. Typically on these pause sets, whether it be squat or bench, I just kind of go off feel, and then looking back at the video later, it looks like I didn't pause at all. So I was going down and counting in my mind, and in some cases a little bit out loud, 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi before going up. And these felt really good. I thought I got good depth on these. I should also say that my stance is a little bit closer in because that's what he suggested. So a little bit more narrow stance, high bar, so that allows me to get my elbows a little bit more up and down. And again, a 3 to 5 second pause. And this being the first workout, I just went for 3 seconds in this case. While you're watching me squat and looking at my ass, hopefully, I'll also go ahead and mention on my last video I just did about the YouTube money thing and how much I make. I got some other questions kind of come up. And one of the things I forgot to say was the amount of time and effort I actually put into my channel. So you guys saw exactly what I earned, but what I didn't state was that if you average out the hours that I put into filming, editing, uploading videos, and responding to all your comments, it really equates to less than minimum wage. And a lot of people said, you know, I was surprised at how much you make, or I thought you'd make more. A lot of people always think that you make more doing videos on YouTube, and honestly, not a lot of people do. Just like any other profession, there's a small percentile of people who really kill it, and everyone else is kind of just grabbing at straws trying to survive. Now, it'd be nice one day to get there, but again, as this is just extra income for me, I'm not really overly concerned with doing so or not. I'm just happy to hear that you guys like my videos and my lame-ass commentary. So now that I've kind of filled up some time, if you didn't know what I was trying to do, that's exactly what I was trying to do. The next thing that I was doing is stiff-legged deadlifts on a 4-inch block. Now for this, I am very tall, so this is very hard for me to do true stiff legs. So this might actually look more like Romanian deadlifts to me. Also, I'm also been very, very far. However, my flexibility allows me to for the most part. My back's a little bit rounded. I'm not that concerned with that in this case, only because the weight isn't overly severe. I did 3 working sets. The first one of 245 for 8 reps. The second one, which you're about to see coming up just now, and I can just go ahead and do a dramatic pause. There's a really long pause. Is 285 for 8 reps. And then finally, you'll see a working set of 315 for 8. Now, I didn't do this with a belt, again, because it wasn't overly heavy for me. You can see I'm not really struggling with this, but this felt really good. As I continue to do these, I'm going to really work on making sure my legs are locked a little bit better. This is primarily focusing on my hamstrings right here, but this will obviously translate over to my deadlift as well. But this was pretty taxing. I didn't do straps. I thought about using straps on this, but I'm really trying to stay away from them if I can. So I just used some chalk. And then again, here you see my last final set of 315. So again, this felt pretty good. Should also state that this was actually done a little bit later in the afternoon. I think this was around 3 o'clock or so. You guys know typically I work out in the mornings. I'm going to very much try to push my workouts a little bit later. That way I can have some food in me. I'm going to see how that goes. But if I don't like it, I'll probably end up going back to the mornings just because that's what I found has always worked well for me. Now after that, it moved on to 3 sets of pull-ups, as many reps as possible using an overhand grip. So I'm only showing you the first set because these are pretty boring. I think I managed to get 15, which for me I was pretty happy with at this point considering all the work I've done prior. My second set I did 12, my third set I ended up with 10 reps. Now after that was all done, there was some core work involved, and again, I only really filmed the first set because it's kind of boring in my opinion, as is most of my videos. So why do I film any of my videos? I'm having some conflict internally right now if you can't notice. But my last actual work was 3 sets of hanging leg raises, and in this case it called for 10 reps each. And on this I was only really concerned with bringing my legs up. I had a little bit of momentum going here, which I really try to avoid, but that's just something again to work on. When I used to do this exercise in the past, and this is probably my favorite core exercise, I'd actually bring my feet all the way up to it touched the bar, a little bit better range of motion, but in this case 3 sets of 10 was fine for me, going to about parallel. Again, I need to work on straightening my legs, but that's what you get when you're an inflexible, tall, lanky man. So there you go. As always, thanks for watching, and in the meantime, stay big.